40-man roster has been out since last week for Copa America. That's a provisional roster. Jurgen Klinsmann has to cut it down to 23. Let's take a look at some of the key positional matchups that the head coach is dealing with heading into training camp next week. And for that, we bring in MLSsoccer.com's Greg Lalas. Greg, when you look at the 40-man roster, how many of those guys do you think are locks to be on the 23?
So I was scribbling it down a little bit before we got in here, and I was amazed to realize that it's really, for me, I think there are 9 players who are locks. And just really quickly, Tim Howard, Brad Guzan, Jeff Cameron, DeAndre Yedlin, Michael Bradley, Jermaine Jones, Fabian Johnson, Josie Altidore, and Jossie Zardes, for me, are the locks.
Notable by his absence, one Clint Dempsey, by the way. But let's not get into Deuce just yet. Let's get into all the other players who are now in competition, sometimes directly one-on-one for spots. Starting on defense, where Steve Birnbaum and Omar Gonzalez look to be playing for one spot in this team. Who do you think will be on the 23?
Well, it's a good question, because I think that you look at what these two have done recently, especially, Gonzalez played in the game down in Guatemala, and he started, but he came out after 66 minutes. And then Birnbaum started the second game back in Columbus, and I thought did really well. This is an interesting one because, Klinsmann wants to go into this and try and win this tournament. The experience Gonzalez brings from the World Cup and 2 Gold Cups, that's huge. His form has been much better in recent months since he moved down to Mexico, and Klinsmann said that form really helps his case. Birnbaum, to me, though, I think it's also about building up toward 2018. You'd bring him if you're looking to also build to 2018, even though Gonzalez is only 27. Can you believe that? He's only 27. But ultimately, I think that Birnbaum is in if he has a really good camp. That, to me, is the important thing for him. Gonzalez, to me, I think will end up making it. Klinsmann will bring him.
Big numbers in central defense and also in central midfield, where Kyle Beckerman and Danny Williams could end up playing for one spot. Who would get the nod?
I think this is a Beckerman role in this one. It's for Danny Williams to knock him out. Beckerman's experience, again, in a big tournament situation like the Copa America is huge. Now, Danny Williams does bring more of a scoring threat. He's got a lot more pace, and at the international game that helps, especially now that Beckerman's, he's 34 years old, so his pace is down. But tactically, if they're going to play with, say, Michael Bradley and Jermaine Jones always looking to get forward, that ability of Beckerman to hold, that discipline in there can be massive, and that, I think, is why Klinsmann will bring Beckerman.
All right, up top, really interesting choices. How about veteran guy Chris Wondolowski tearing up MLS right now, and Jordan Morris, likewise, by the way. One of those two guys could get left off. Who might it be?
Well, look, Wondo, 7 goals so far in MLS. Jordan Morris, 4 goals, especially in the last 4 games. He's got 4 goals, a goal in each one. And so you're right, they're both tearing it up. But I really think this one comes down to style. 2 very, very different players. Wondo is a sort of fox-in-the-box type of player. He likes to play in those tight spaces, get into the right places to score those goals. Morris is a bull, and that's where I think I really like what Morris brings at the international game. His pace, his power, his fearlessness going at a defender can open up the game in special ways. Wondo, to me, is more of a late game player. You bring him in, you're down a goal, you need a goal, something like that. You get him in there, get the ball in there. But I think ultimately this comes down to what will happen with Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, how does he factor into maybe a Wondo or Jordan Morris making the 23? Pulisic.
To me, Pulisic is all about Wondo, because to me they're similar players. They like to play in those little spaces. So if Klinsmann decides that the 17-year-old from Borussia Dortmund is the guy to go with, I think Wondo could be the odd man out. I think Klinsmann really likes Morris, especially now that he's playing well and scoring goals. And despite everything Klinsmann's done to build Wondo into being an international player, and he's done a fantastic job in that way, I still think it will end up being Morris and Pulisic that get the call.
Hey, we want to know what you guys think about those positional battles from the 40-man provisional roster to the 23-man Copa America roster. Leave those sentiments in the comments section below.